Hey there, it's 2 hours UTC, and it's time once again for Astronomy Daily Live. And I'm just going to increase the gain of this exposure time and gain of this camera a little bit, maybe change the brightness a little bit. All right, I think we are ready to rock and roll. So, welcome. We are once again out here, at least I am, out here under the very, very clear and calm, darkening southeast Arizona sky. And I am taking my calibration data. I've taken my flats. Now I'm taking my darks, which is going along just swimmingly. So yeah, everything's going well so far. I've actually got the chat popped up here, so let me do that. Yeah, Bobby, the problem with the panel today is going to be that your sound would be coming out of this speaker and it would feed back into the camera. And so, yeah, as you can see, I don't have any of the headphones on. So I think there would be feedback. So for today, no panel, my apologies. But we are out here under the night sky, grabbing calibration data as we speak. So this is actually almost done. So so yeah, that's that. Here are my my current conditions. I'm gonna try to scooch this over here so I can see the chat at the same time. And the problem, I'm running this on a laptop, and the mouse buttons are such that when I push it once, it almost like 95% of the time does a double click, and anyway, so here are the conditions at the moment. You can sort of see that I'm at 55.9, stupid thing, 55.9 Fahrenheit, and humidity too low to measure, so I like it. So yeah, it's getting dark. We've got the moon up above me here. There it is. So yeah, everything's good. So the because I've got the moon out, lower this a little bit. Because I've got the moon out, I'm not going to be able to do any sort of faint object thing. So I'm sticking with some relatively bright stuff, and the primary target for tonight is going to be once again HW Virginis. It's an eclipsing binary star that is going to be doing its thing. I think it goes into eclipse at about, I want to say about, so now I'm doing the 1 second exposures. Yeah, doing the eclipse. I think mid eclipse is something around 4:14 UTC, something like that. So so yeah. Hey there, Page Master. Nice to see you. Welcome. So we do astronomy here, and one of the astronomical things that I like to do from time to time is actually take you all outside here, outside southern Arizona, and observe with me. Now I'm not doing photography. I'm actually collecting data. So I make actual measurements on things. Photographs and all of that are for others. I'm actually collecting data. I'm doing science on this stuff. So yeah. So tonight's primary target is HW Virginis, and like I said, it does an eclipse. It does a 20-minute eclipse. It's really, really fast. This pair of stars are going around each other every 2.8 hours, which is just blows my mind, right? So if you can imagine, you know, stars on the order of the size of our sun, two of them zipping around each other at 2.8 hours, you know, per orbit. And each eclipse, each primary eclipse, main eclipse, runs about 20 minutes or so. So that is the primary one. But I have two, I guess, two other targets tonight also. And that is the variable star, sort of the regular variable star called R Leo. And that has a period of about 300 days or so. And that's a star that's actually expanding and contracting. It's a giant star that is sort of, at least as far as the story goes, it's sort of at the end of its life, and it's being very, very unstable, and so it gets bright and dark and bright and dark, and that period is about 300 days. So pretty much every night I'm out here, I'm going to be spending a little bit of time collecting some photons from our Leo, because that is obviously going to be a longer term project, and it actually reached its maximum brightness probably about 50 days ago or so. So it's currently dimming. I've got maybe 3 or 4 data points on that at the moment, and to be honest, I haven't looked at any of it yet. Yes, photons. I like photons too. So it's getting a little bit dark, but I've got, with this particular setup, I've got camera control here, so I can actually come in here and change the gain, and I can change the brightness. So we can get right on in here. It's you know, it's getting dark, and I think astronomical twilight ends at local time 8:15 p.m., which is about another hour or so. But during that hour, I will be, I'm going to shorten the exposure time a little bit, because I think, let me play with this a little bit here. I haven't, oh, that's about as good as I can get, huh? Okay, so we're getting really, really, really dark here, so I'm just going to have to increase the exposure time a little bit. So, all right, cool. Let's try to do that. Yeah, it is 2:10 UTC. So, and I'm always on Mountain Standard Time, being in the state of Arizona. We don't change time zones or anything like that. So I'm always on Mountain Standard Time, which means I'm always 7 hours behind UTC. So here it is 7:10 p.m. Local time. And so I've collected all my calibration data. I take flats, I take darks. that will allow me to remove all the um, um, systematic aspects of the data. So the only photons that I'll be looking at when I actually make my measurements and move on, doing the scientific analysis and all that, are the photons that are coming from the actual um, um, target itself. So yeah. All right. Well, hey, I definitely want to say howdy to Bobby, who I saw in the chat a little bit earlier. Chuck, nice to see you again. Excellent. Carolina Sky, excellent. Glad you can come by. Page Master, like I said, welcome. This is I like to bring you all out here from time to time, just to sort of let you see what this is all about. This is, uh, as far as comparing it to a professional major observatory, the only real difference, is the size of the telescope. Everything else is pretty much um, what an astronomer would do at one of the major observatories. In fact, one of the major observatories is just to the north of me here. It's the Mount Graham um, site, which has the large binocular telescope, the Vatican telescope, and the submillimeter telescope. And it was actually the submillimeter telescope was one of the telescopes that was used to observe the black hole that was just announced. So all right, well, cool. So I've got the calibration data. As you can see, I've still got my t-shirt um, um, on the scope. There, I take what are called t-shirt flats. So I come out of here at sunset, and I put a t-shirt on the front of the thing. I bungee it on, and take flats that way. Those are actually some of the best flats you can get. So the first thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take that t-shirt flat off, and it's actually getting dark enough that I think I can probably, I'm going to look around here. Yeah, there's Procyon. You know what? I think I want to stick over here. So Spica, Spica. Looking for Spica and Arcturus. And oh, there's Arcturus way down there still. Okay. So Spica's still rising, so I'm not going to be able to do that. I think trying to decide how to do that. Anyway, so there's HW Virginis, which is sort of the primary tonight. Our Leo, I'm going to try to slip in between things. And the third target is going to be the asteroid Pallas, which is actually right next to Arcturus over there. So, oh, yeah, Carolina Sky, it doesn't really matter when you do it. The only reason why I do it beforehand is because I use the sunset for my light. So, all right, well, I'm going to take this t-shirt off of here. Thusly, I hope you can hear me okay. So off comes the t-shirt. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk away just for a moment. I'm going to put this away. Hey there, Astro Live channel. Nice to see you in the chat. Thanks for posting all that, all those neat things and all that. I've been. I don't think I've watched all of them, but I've been watching a little bit of those. So greatly appreciated. Yeah, very cool. All right, I will be right back. I'm going to go put this back in my safe place. So I'll be back in just a minute. Chatter amongst yourselves. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm gonna go ahead and crank the scope up a little bit, get it so it isn't quite as pointing so low. It doesn't have to be quite that low. Well, trying to decide what stars to use for my sky alignment, and I'm going to be pointing all over the place, trying to think. There's Regulus, and there's Procyon, there's Betelgeuse, and like I said, Arcturus is still way over there. Lyca is just sort of rising. Maybe it's 5 degrees or so above the horizon, so it's got a little ways to go. HW Virginis is actually right by Spica, but I've got another 2 hours before that eclipse takes place. So I guess probably what I should do is the skyline, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Procyon, and I'm going to do Regulus. So I'm going to go ahead and get that all set up. And turn on my. I'm gonna. Let's see. Oh, you got rid of your channel, Astrolive channel? Huh. Okay. Well, if that's what you had to do, that's what you got to do. Yeah, that's how it goes. Now, I'm wondering, I might have to. I don't think that the light from this screen is going to affect me very much. Cool, Chuck. So you got a shot of Messier 87. Very cool. Did you see the little jet? Did you get a shot of that? That is very cool. Yeah. PageMaster. It is. It is definitely an algol type. It's just really fast. Really fast. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do that. As it gets darker and darker here, you're going to be seeing less and less. But I will definitely be able to come by here, and I think the light this screen will keep me lit up. And as long as I'm not pointing the scope too close, you know, so none of the light from this screen is coming in, I don't think that that is going to be a big deal. Yeah, and I don't care about, you know, dark adaptation or anything like that, not necessarily. So that's not a big deal for me. So yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the skyline. I'll do Regulus and Procyon, and then we'll once that's done, I will be able to really relax and chat with you a little bit more. So let's see if I can get this before it goes. So it's going to be 1922. 22:00. Gotta wait for my clock right there. Standard Time Mountain 041319 is the date. And well, since we're over here, let's do Procyon first. So I know that you're not going to be able to see me very well, but I will just keep the talking, and hopefully you'll be able to hear me relatively well from over here. So I'm gonna tell it to move to Procyon, and let's see. Let me get the camera going here. I don't need that anymore. I'm gonna go into 3x3 binning mode because I can just do short exposures, and I do have a red light. 0.1 seconds, and we'll just do a Julian exposures because I'm gonna have to rotate this a little bit because I'm gonna have to be able to see the screen myself. And I'm gonna change that. So okay, so now let's go over to Procyon. Procyon is over there. You have to kneel to the telescope. Make sure that we've got I'm actually really close to it. It so happens I'm really close to it. So it should be coming in there. Got some kind of a star in there, but it's not what I'm after. Look at him. There he is. I don't know if you can see the screen over there very well or not. Sorry if you can't. But I'm just centering Procyon up here. And gonna get him right in the middle and hit the button. Let's see if we can get him really close to center. I think that might do. Yeah, here we go. All right, where am I? Okay, so now let's go over to Regulus. Regulus isn't too far away from Procyon. Have to, and again, my apologies for just having absolute blackness here, but that's how it goes. You know, astronomers do it in the dark. So, but I'm glad that you can see a little bit. So be careful of my wires here. I don't want to mess with wires. It's still a little bit light, so it's kind of hard to see the Regulus through this finder scope, but I will get it. It's a little bit of a gymnastic event here too. I'm glad you can see it on the screen a little bit at least. It'll be pretty close there. There it is. See which way it's tracking. Going down a little bit. Sorry that, well, I'm not going to keep apologizing. It's just, it is what it is. Gotta move them up a little bit. Once we get the sky alignment, I'll focus. I will focus. Yeah. Come on. Good old Regulus. Getting closer. Try to put him right in the middle. Close to the middle as I can. Given the technology that I have. It's you know, the Earth spins awfully fast. I tell you this all the time, and so it's like trying to keep up with things. Yeah, mad scientist. That's for sure. I'm. Oh, Jim, if you only knew. You probably do. Come on, Regulus. We really want to be moving a little faster than that. Not in any major hurry, but, you know. There we go. Let's see how that tracks. Let's scooch him over a little tiny bit more. Okay. Well, that's probably close enough. Okay. Alignment success. So, all right. I think, whoop, I can definitely turn that again a little bit so y'all can see the fun and games here. So there's Regulus right at the top. I'm going to throw the Batten-off mask. Yeah, hoo-hoo. Well, gotta make sure to throw the Batten-off mask on the ground first. Then I put it on the telescope. It's just a thing that has to be done. All right, I'm back over here. I hope you can. I'm not. Well, it's not focusing very well. Let me try to make it focus. There we go. I'm gonna try to move this thing over so I can. Oh yeah, okay. So you're seeing the screen relatively well. So okay, very good, very good. So I know that you can't see this, but I am a little bit out of focus, so I'm gonna get that focus there. When I change filters, the focus changes a little bit, and I think I was using a blue filter and now I've switched to green, so I'm having to refocus, but I think that looks, yeah, I think we're there. Groovy. Okay, we are good to go. Now, I think, well, now we basically just wait, because I've got another, it's, so it's 2:30 UTC. Yeah, Jim, thanks. I about half the time I totally forget that it's there, and I go to my first target and I look at the images and it's like, holy shit, what happened? What happened? What happened? And oh, this poor thing is having some problems focusing. Let's see, can I? There we go. Um, uh, and yeah, you know, so I look at the image and it's like, holy crap, what the hell is going on there? And it's like, oh, huh, that sort of looks like a, oh. So yes, I'm going to take it off right now. Thank you for the reminder. I appreciate that. Okay, that enough mask is off. And we got a round star again. So I'm going to move him. He doesn't bake my my poor little TCD camera. You know. So okay. So anyway, so those are the three targets. It's going to be HW Virginis, and that is actually, I'm going to start. I've got some notes here, so I'm going to be starting observing HW Virginis at 3:45 UTC, and I'll go to 4:45 UTC. So I'll observe that for an entire hour. Get a nice curve on that. Now, one of the cool things about and actually, you know what? I can stop that. I don't need to have that running. One of the interesting things about eclipsing binary stars is you've got these two components. You've got the A component and the B component, and during the primary eclipse, sorry about the focus. It's not not liking these low light levels. So sorry about that. The B component is said to be orbiting the A component, and during the primary eclipse, well, so for most of the orbit, we're seeing the light from both stars, right? But during the eclipse, the B component passes in front of the A component to some extent, right? It might not be a total. So during the eclipse, you only see light from B, or mainly from B. Okay, and then it passes by, but then when B actually goes behind A, right behind A, I'm not doing this well. You only see light from A, and so you actually see another dip. It's sort of like a secondary dip, and so that should be happening about 1.4 hours after the primary dip. So my plan is, I've got my little notebook here, is to actually watch both of those happen. So the primary, I'm going to be going from 3:45 to 4:45, and then the secondary, that should be happening about 5:38 UTC. So I'm going to try to observe that between like 5:25 and 6 hours UTC, and more or less. So yeah, I actually want to grab both of those this time, and see what that looks like. The primary, the magnitude change is about, I think I want to say about like 7/10 of a magnitude or so, something like that. and the secondary, I think, is about 1/10 of a magnitude, maybe 2/10 of a magnitude. Um, uh, I definitely want to grab both of those. And then in between those times, and because those are sort of the critical times, I don't have a choice in terms of when I observe these. If I want to observe these events, um, then I have to observe them when they're taking place. But with R Leo and with Pallas, I can observe those anytime. So I will be observing those sort of in between times. And um, I think what I'm going to do first, I think my first target is actually going to be the asteroid Pallas. So I will definitely live stream that so you can see it. I mean, it looks like a bright star. I think it's about I think it's magnitude 7.5 or 8 or something. So really bright. I've got my charts, which again, you're not I'm going to be able to see very well here. And I have to use finder charts because the pointing with this scope isn't all that great. It usually gets me within maybe 1/4 of a degree or 1/2 a degree or so of my target, but then I have to sort of um, 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 push it into place. So I've created star charts with Gaia data that shows you the positions and brightnesses of the stars. And so I've got charts that I've got stars down to 15th magnitude. Now, with a 1 or 2 or 3-second exposure, which is what I can take with this, I can see 13th magnitude stars pretty easily, 14th maybe. When I tell the telescope, to go to a particular place in the sky, I write down, I don't remember if I wrote down, I did, okay. So when I tell the telescope, to go to a particular ride ascension and declination in the sky, it's going to get relatively close, but it's not going to get incredibly close. That's why I need a chart to sort of guide my way. Yeah, yeah. I I I don't necessarily consider myself old school, but I am a little bit old fashioned, and I'm not really interested in fancy schmancy stuff. I'm interested in photons, and I'm interested in high quality data. So so I don't need a big telescope. I don't need to have the best CCD camera available. I don't need to have the greatest mount in the world. I can work around all of that. Now, if I did have all of that, great, absolutely great. Um, but it's not necessary. Not for me. Um, it's it's a pretty good challenge to um, to be able to find these targets in my little field of view. I've got a 12 arc minute by 9 arc minute field of view, um, and but usually I can locate my target relatively quickly. I give myself about 10 or 15 minutes, and if I'm not able to find it, then um, I go and I look and see how well the pointing is. because if I'm, for some reason, um, when I'm really, really off in terms of the star alignment, sometimes I just don't point well. So I'll go back and I'll do a new star alignment, and usually at that point, I'll tell a telescope again, to move to a particular place, and it'll be relatively close or close enough to be able to find it on my chart. So that's how that works. Moon is nice and bright. It's getting nice and dark here. I can definitely obviously still see the sunset. But about another half an hour or so before it's completely dark. So all right, well, cool. I think yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll. I think what we can do is just have some fun here, and why don't I point the telescope over towards Mizar and Alcor, which is the central star and sort of the handle of the Big Dipper. That's actually a double-double, and yeah, we'll we can look at that. We've looked at that before a couple of times. I'm trying to think if there's anything else worth looking at. We could always look at M46 again. There's Mars over there. There's the Hyades. They are setting. The Pleiades are setting. Orion is setting. Oh, M37. We haven't looked at M37 in a while. Why don't we go over to M37 just for fun? M37 is one of my favorite open clusters of all time. So let's do a 1 second exposure on that. And we'll just move over there. And we don't have to be exact on this. So I'm going to tell the telescope to move to Messier 37. Sky, Messier 037, go. So here it goes. It's actually starting to get a little chilly. 50.2 degrees. Humidity is insanely low, but it is getting a little chilly. So, I think if you don't mind, I'm going to run inside really, really quick, grab some warmies, and come right back out. So my apologies, but I'm going to yeah, I think I'm gonna go and put some warm on. So yeah, I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Yeah, my apologies. That's just how it's gonna go here. So I will be right back. I will go as fast as I possibly can. All right, I've got the red light on me. There we go. Red light on you. All right, I'll be right back. Maybe 5 minutes max. 5 minutes max. Got a little bit of wind out here too. There you go. All right, people. There. Ah, nice and warm. Yay. 3 scopes, huh, Jim? You've got the fever. I was cured of the fever early on because the first telescopes that I worked with were some of the largest in the world. So I don't have telescope fever. I don't have aperture fever. So yeah, I don't have that kind of affliction. But I uh, I think it's great that folks can have exactly what they want. So yeah, very, very cool. Bobby, no. You know, I already look like a hoodlum in this thing. So yeah, that's scary enough. So yeah, uh, yeah, very, very cool. All right, so I'm gonna grab the paddle here, and let me put this away. I think we're pretty darn close. Now, I know that you can't really see the screen very, very well. Um, so, you know, again, my apologies for that, but we're gonna move over here to M37. Looks like pretty close. And let's see. I see a concentration of stars over here. Oh yeah. So pretty good pointing so far. Yeah, I I hope you all can see that a little bit at least. Move them up a little bit. So M37 is a very, very rich and beautiful open cluster in the constellation Auriga. And as I said, it's one of my favorites. Scooch him over a little bit there. Quite nice, actually. There's a really, really bright star, like right in the middle of it, or at least, you know, close to the middle of it. So I'm gonna scooch him up a little bit, I think. Looks pretty nice. I hope you can see a little bit of that. What I'll do is I'll go, you know, to 2x2 binning here, and that'll increase the size of the image a little bit. That'll help you see a little bit better. So these are 1-second exposures. I'm gonna you know, I'm waiting for, you know, the darkness to settle in. So how does that? I'm gonna move my yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're just not really going to be able to see that incredibly well. Is there anything I can do about that? Nope, there isn't. um, so, all right, I'll just leave it at that. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to just play with the exposure times here a little bit. Get a sense of how long I can go. Here's a 5-second exposure. Let's see how good the tracking is. So downloading it. So yeah, pretty streaky. Let's see if I can scooch that down a little bit. Bumping it around a little bit, of course. Let's see what this one looks like. Okay, so that's not too bad actually. That's a 5-second exposure. Wow. Okay. So that's all right. I can live with that. Wow. Yeah. Tracking is actually pretty darn nice. See what this next one looks like. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. So I think I'll probably stick with 4-second exposures then. I mean, you know, I'll have to actually get over there and take a look. But yeah, as I said, the first target tonight is the asteroid Pallas. And yes, Chuck, this is Windows XP. It is. Absolutely. This is, you know, it's a little old school. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, uh, but you know, the thing of it is that this works, and so I'm interested in when things work, I just leave them alone, and so that's exactly what I'm doing here. The camera, it's sort of the situation is this. The camera that I have is an S-Big ST7, and it it uh, um, it has a parallel port, and this machine has, of course, a parallel port connector on it. And I'm running CCD Soft version, I think it's version 5, and it talks to um, this camera just fine. So you know, could I upgrade the computer? Yeah, I probably could. I probably could. Um, but it works. So yeah, there's no real reason. So yeah, I just sort of go with it. That's I don't necessarily want to work any more than what I have to. So looks like the tracking is a little funky, but that's okay. That's all right. Um, no problem at all. It's always nice to see old friends. So M37 is, like I said, one of my favorite objects um, objects in the sky. So whenever I get a chance to look at it, and I know that you're not able to see this all that well, but it's very rich. There's tons and tons and tons of stars in that. Doing 4-second exposures, and it's sort of looking like 4-second exposures are going to work, or are going to work for me pretty well. So I'm watching the time. We're getting close to 3 hours UTC, and it's almost dark. You know, one of the funny things about being located at a very dark site like I am here is that when the moon is out, it's very bright out here. It's really bright. I don't need a light, you know, to move around or anything, because it's just the ground is all lit up, and you know, no problem at all. So so all right. Well, you know what? It's I don't know how long it's going to take me to find Pallas. So I think what I'm going to do, since we're getting close to 8 p.m. local time here, and astronomical twilight is around 8:15. At least the end of the twilight is around 8:15. I think I'm going to go ahead and start searching for Pallas. And we'll see how that goes. Well, if the pointing is good, then it's going to be super easy. If the pointing is bad, then it's going to be super, super hard. But yeah, I think it's about time to get on over there. So, all right, cool. Let's do it. Target number 1. Okay, cool. So, number 18 on the Messier list, huh? Cool. I haven't done the marathon in a very, very long time. I used to do it every year. I did it every year for probably about 10 years or so. And so, you know, it's sort of like, well, I've done that already. I'm sort of done with that. In fact, what I would do is I would do a what I call the Messier Plus marathon. So I would clear, you know, the entire sky of Messier objects in a couple hours. And then I'd have to wait for, you know, 1 or 2 hours for more of them to rise. And so in between that, I would look at NGC objects. So over the course of a night, I would probably look at, you know, 200 or 300 objects instead of just, you know, your regular 110. So, all right. So I've got the right ascension and declination of Pallas, which I got from the JPL on the Horizons website, which we should probably take a look at that again at some point back in the office when we do a live stream in there. But yeah, doing the marathon is definitely worth doing. It's extremely exciting. It's extremely exhilarating. And you know, I think probably a lot of people these days, you know, because, you know, we have these go-to mounts, they just dial in, you know, the coordinates and go. And, you know, I think to each his own, right? I mean, if you just want to see them, then that's really, really great. But what I find very, very fun is the hunt, right? That makes observing them and actually seeing them just a little more sweeter that way. All right, so let's get over to Pallas, because who knows how easy this is going to be to be defined. So I'm going to go to my go-to RAN deck. And Pallas right now is at 13:52:17, 52:17 seconds, and a declination of plus 19:16 0 seconds. So there we go. As I said, it's way over by Arcturus, which is of course to my east over here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up my chart. Should be here. So, and again, I know that you all aren't going to be able to see this. Luckily, it looks like I'm going to have a comparison star, a reference star right next to Pallas. So, yay. That's always nice. Okay, so I'm going to go back to 3x3 mode here, because that's the fastest. And I'm going to shrink that down to 2-second exposures so I can get some good feedback. And there are definitely some stars in there. Oh, just moved out. So now the fun begins. So it is 8:03 p.m. local time. And I'm going to give myself about 10 minutes or so on this to see if I can see if I can grab it. So it's just a matter of finding star patterns. So first you got to find stars. That's the first trick. In fact, you know what I might do? What I might do is I might do an alignment on Arcturus. Let's do that. Let's do that. So we can just we'll replace Procyon with Arcturus. Whoop. Nope, don't want to do that. Let's see how close it is to Arcturus. Stars, and we'll go to Arcturus and see how the pointing is. Kneel to the telescope. It's a little bit off, so yeah, let's definitely let's do another alignment here. So, because it's off a little ways. Not too bad, actually, but might as well get it as good as I can. 2.1 seconds. I'll get this guy back in here. Pretty darn close, actually. Here he is. Get him moved up. Get him centered. Come on. You're in there somewhere. I know you are. There you are. Scooch him over a little bit. Up. Let's see which way he's moving. He's moving down. Okay, so we'll scooch him up. Down and to the left. Scooch him up. And it gets pretty close to the center. I'll do another align. Oh, wow, that's really close to the center. Sweet. Okay, alignment success. So, okay, so now let's go to Pallas. I've got to put my coordinates again here. Off my knees. The moon is casting shadows. I love it. Okay, Mr. Pallas. Okay, so here we go again. So 13, 52, 17.0, plus 19, 16, 0, 0. And I'll change the exposure time back to 2 seconds. 2 seconds for now. 3x3 binning, and we'll see what we look like here. Got a big burn spot where Arcturus was. Deal with that. Not seeing. Oh, there's a couple of stars drifting in. Need to see more than one star, though. There's so yeah, now it's just a matter of poking around, seeing if I can find anything. So I see a faint star, but one star is not enough. I need more than one to see a pattern. So just start moving around until I start seeing more than one star. That's the first trick. I'm hoping pretty close. since I did an alignment on Arcturus, and Pallas is really, really, really close to Arcturus, I'll be able to bang this guy out, I think. Hopefully. We will see. We will see. This is the sort of the hardest part of this whole exercise. And I'm in a pretty blank piece of sky, so there just aren't a lot of bright stars where I want to go. So I just have to sort of move around until I see something. I'm seeing two stars, pretty faint stars next to one another. So I'm just going to keep scanning around until I see something. Okay, well, those two stars aren't doing me any good. So I'm gonna, ooh, okay, there's a pretty bright star, relatively bright star. Ooh, okay. Well, let's see if I can hone in on that. So there's a bright star and then a faint one right next to it, and that's the kind of pattern that I like to see. Because then I can look on the chart and be like, okay. So let's see what we've got here. So it's just a relatively bright one next to a really, really, really faint one. They're pretty close to one another. I wonder if it's that. Doesn't look bright enough. Ooh, there's another star over here. Let's see. Oh, looks like a couple of stars over there. Two-second exposures. Okay, so I definitely have a bright guy next to a faint guy, and then sort of off one way is a couple of really, really, really faint dudes. So I'm looking. This is the most difficult part of the job, is to sort of hone in on the where I'm looking. And you know, dang it, I've got to be pretty darn close. I've got to be pretty darn close. Ah, I got it. Okay, I know exactly where I am. Yay! All right, I'm not too far off. Not too far off. So what I need to do is I need to move. Let's see. If I move up, if I move those guys down. Okay. Yep. I know where I am. Yay! Now I just need to get over to Pallas. So I'm about like half a degree off. So I need to very, very carefully move. So what should be popping into my field of view at the top, and I know that you all aren't able to see this, what I should see popping into the field of view at the top is two stars, two pretty faint stars. Let's see if they pop in here. They should. I think I've got to lose them to the bottom. Lose my targets to the bottom. But those two should pop in, hoping, going into no man's land here. I've got it. I know where I'm going. Ooh, there's absolutely nothing to see here. Ooh, okay, I'm trying. Oh, there's one. I think that was... Oh, there we go. I think that might be him. That might be him right there. Because it's a bright thing where no bright thing should be. So I'm going to scooch him over and see if he's next to a star. No, I'm not seeing it next to a star anywhere. Unless that's it. Could be. Seeing a pretty bright thing where there shouldn't be one, as far as I know. But I'm not seeing my reference star anywhere. So I'm going to scooch around a little bit, see if I can do that. Yes. Okay, so there's two bright stars. Maybe I move. I wonder if I move the wrong way. Shoot. Because I'm seeing now two equally bright stars. Maybe I moved the wrong way. Shoot. How can I confirm this? If I move... Well, now wait a minute. Is there a... Yeah, there's a faint star right there. So, yeah, shoot. I think I went the wrong way. So, okay, what I need to do is I need to... It's going to be hard. Yeah, I went the wrong way. But I still think I know where I am. So, I guess what I want to do... I don't remember which way I was moving now. So what I need to do is I need to go sort of that away. So, okay. I think if I move these things this way, I think I'm going to run into it. This is fun. So we're at 3:18 UTC. I'm going to go into no man's land again here. Went the wrong way before. Okay. Well, I think I'm seeing what I should be seeing. So what that tells me is that Pallas should be popping in pretty soon here. I think if I've got my bearings right. And it's really, really bright. So, I mean, it's going to be extremely obvious. Okay, should be popping in momentarily, I think. There comes something down there. Okay, there's that guy. There he is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah, pretty sure that is Pallas. And again, I know that you can't see that incredibly well, but pretty sure. I'm going to confirm this by going down here. I'm going to let that drift in a little bit more. And I should be able to, let's see, scooch him over a little bit more. I'm 99% sure. I'm going to confirm this by going over and seeing if I can see these other two stars. And then I'll come back. So let's see. Should we put this over here on the edge like that? Okay, so now I'm going to scooch him. Scooch him down. Yeah, so I think if I do this, I should see a couple of stars pop in on the lower right. Yes. Yes. Okay, so that's Pallas. Yay. So that's really, really nice that I've got Pallas and a reference star. It's too bad that I can't get another reference star in here, so it's going to be maybe a little bit of a trick to actually work with this data, but I think that's all right. I can work with that. Because, of course, Pallas is moving. All right, so I'm going to get these guys centered up here, and then I'm going to go into 2x2 mode. I'm going to do 2x2 binning again, and all right, that looks great. I think what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and bump this up to, well, let's see what 4-second exposures do. See if I get any major streaking here. Maybe a little bit. See what this next one looks like. Down a little bit. Let me grab this and give them a tweak up. See if I can stabilize the tracking a little bit. I've got pointing problems. I've got tracking problems. but all can be dealt with. Yeah, that actually looks really, really good. So, okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and set up for collecting data here. Yay. TALLAS. Okay. And you know what? I think I'm going to go to 3-second exposures, just because the tracking isn't great. What that looks like. And so yeah, I have to I actually have to sit here and keep the target centered as well, because the tracking just isn't all that great. It's good enough though. It's much better than not having it at all. So okay, that looks beautiful. Yeah, that looks absolutely great. So it'd be nice to have another reference in there, but that will do. That will do. Okay, well, I think with that, I'm going to I'm gonna go ahead and end this live stream for today. So thanks everybody for coming in for this OBS session, and that's exactly what it is. It's an obsession, and you know, like I said, you know, we'll do this from time to time. I shouldn't have to necessarily get any more calibration data now for a while, unless I bump the camera or move the camera in some way. So I'm not going to have to take any more cals for a while. So I shouldn't have to be out here at sunset. So even if it's clear, and I think it's going to be clear tomorrow too, so I'm going to see how that goes. But if it's clear, I'll be out observing probably again. We'll see. We'll see. I've got a lot of data right now, you know, to go through. I sort of have a backlog. So, but yeah, I think for now, I'm going to get out of here. So live long and prosper, peace, cheers, and all that. And yeah, thanks so much for coming in and watching the I don't know, the mess here. But it's a lot of fun, and that's what it's all about. So for now, take care, everybody. I will see you on the spin a little less than, well, what, about 22 and a half hours from now. And I will let you know how this goes. It's going to be a little bit of a long night, but yeah, who cares? All right, everybody, take care. I will see you later. Bye.